Wes here with Two Frogs Racing. I ran into these guys, Step 22, at the Off the Grid Surplus open house a couple weeks back, and I knew exactly who they were. I'd seen the ads a bunch of times on social media. I'm always attracted to the new tool roll, you know, and the things that they all seem to have in common is that they want to sell you the tools too. Well, I already got tools coming out my ears, so I was real happy to see that it was just about the tool roll. And I got to put my hands on it, and I don't know what I was expecting from the ads, but I was expecting it to be just kind of another tool roll. But after Adam, the owner, showed me how he'd built it and why he'd built it and the way he'd gone about designing it, I had to have one. And I already have a tool roll. Fair warning, this is a clone of the Atlas 46 Yankee tool roll, which again, I saw a ton of on social media. But at $125, $130 for something that's gonna live in this truck in a drawer, I didn't feel that confident about spending the money. And I found this one that's essentially a clone of it for, I wanna say it was like 28 bucks or something. And I wanted to see if I liked the roll before investing in it. A friend of mine had one at the Mint, and it seemed like it was a really well-built piece of gear, but I didn't like working out of it. And once I had it for myself, I realized why. There's a series of things about the features of the way it works that I don't like. And then after seeing the Pangolin, it seemed to fix all of those problems. The most notable thing is that all of these pouches are zippered on. There's some big pouches and then 4 normal size pouches. You're supposed to kind of be able to pick it up and do that with it, but that's really not something I expect to do. And then in order to use the wrench roll, you got to flip it over. And it seemed really inconvenient to yard sale the rest of your tools to get to your wrench roll. The other thing is the wrench roll pockets aren't very deep. So some stuff that I'd like to keep in there, like files and crescent wrenches and pipe wrenches and stuff, they don't fit in here. And so there's a lot of pockets that kind of go to waste because you really don't have anything that fits in them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap everything out of this and I'm going to put it into the Pangolin. And there's a couple of cool things about it. When you pull both of those at the same time, you unlock it and you gather it. When you release it, you just pull the one with a little red aluminum tab. It's such a cool setup because it gives you a space to put the in-process items that you're working on. The lug nuts or the tools and the wrenches that you're actually using can stay there and not disappear. The other thing they've got it set up is that if you fold this, and for some reason you don't like having the killer place to put everything, you can just use this clip and tuck it out of the way, and it still works as a tool roll. Just won't roll into itself. It's got some great pockets that are just the right size. Each pocket's about double the size of the one on the fake Atlas. And all of the pockets, with the exception of that one, and the tool roll are on Velcro. So you can take them with you if you know that you're going to be going and doing something somewhere else. The tool roll itself has really deep pockets, like the entire width of it. That's going to allow me to put the files and other stuff that had to get kind of thrown into Gen Pop in there. And then the shorter wrenches all have a great spot to put them too. So I kind of noticed that these back wrenches go all the way through. So it's really a well-designed piece of gear that I'm already happy with, and I haven't even swapped over yet. So I'll spare you the details of me swapping it over, and then we will pick this back up in a second. Okay, so first things first, this thing just completely swallowed all the tools. Like, it's got tons of room left inside these pockets, which is great because it means you don't have to have a completely full pocket when you go digging through it. it's actually going to allow me to do much better organization. I think it's a priority to have all the tools you need instead of having them all necessarily organized. You know, I'd like to know that somewhere in there is the 13 millimeter 3/8 ratchet, more than knowing exactly where it is. You know, that would be like a toolbox. But in this case, it's got such great organization. You can actually be, you know, quite a bit more organized. So I'm going to get a couple of the socket racks, and I'm going to reorganize a couple of these down the road so that I can get the sockets nicely done. These things are just so much better designed than the other side. I was able to get all of the selection of wrenches in, plus these long channel locks that wouldn't fit in that only halfway folded other side, or the other bag. So these things are going to fold all the way in, no problem. You can take this out, bring it with you, hang it up if you want, or it rolls up independently. And then it has a metal buckle here. Everything about this thing just has much higher quality fasteners and fixtures than you'd expect to see. Even the quality of the nylon, you can tell, is just superior. It's good stuff. One of the cool things about this piece of gear is that it's got these neat square pockets that kind of expand a little bit. And so I was able to put all of my Allen wrenches, plus all of these little guys, you know, nut drivers and stuff, inside of there. And then that gets zipped up. And I had an extra one. And so I was able to actually take the power tank tools that I had in their own special bag. They kind of took up a little bit of space. But this is the power tank monster valve inflation valve. So you put that on the monster valve and then open it up. You need this to be with the truck, because this thing airs up to 75 pounds and you don't want to have that off-road. And with those monster valves, it makes it way easier and faster. So I can keep that handy now. This is a transfill valve, again, for the power tank. I can fill up the 20-ounce stuff that goes on the race car, the Maverick, using a 10-pound bottle, and keep that gear nice and handy. If I pull this out of the way, it'll be easier. And as well, have the regular air chuck, Schrader valve caps and new stems. They can all fit in what's, you know, now kind of becoming an air parts deal. And then here's a spare cap for the 20-ounce monster valve, or the 20-ounce power tank. And then this is the scale, so you can properly weigh the things going into that power tank. And it'll just go in my accessories drawer here. So with this thing all together, it is just super duper tidy. You can roll it up and it goes right into itself. You pull both of these at the same time, like I mentioned, and then that just girths it all down and gives you a great little bag that is just extremely well designed. It was so well designed that that's kind of what made me want it. The last part of it is that if we open it back up again, I noticed a zipper that I hadn't seen before. Looks like it's got one big pocket running the full length. Sure, I'll figure out something to put in there, probably a ground cloth or something. It's nice and thin. I can fold the right size, and that gives you a nice big flat spot to put it. But we can write in the comments, and I'll figure out what that thing was designed for, because I'm sure that step 22 had something in mind, and it's perfect for something that I just haven't thought of yet. So pull those tight. You got the box, and it also gives you a spot to put your business card on the outside. Seems like a little thing, but overlanders are real good about trying to return your bag to you if you've lost it. I know I lost one on the Idaho BDR here recently, and I'm 90% sure that if my name had been on the bag or in the bag, I probably would have gotten it back. So it gives you a place to do exactly that. If you've got it rigged on a side-by-side or something where it could, come off, maybe you'd get it back. I wish that it had some loops kind of sewn into it that would give me a place to be able to ratchet this thing down using, instead of just going through the handles. I've been scarred by that. I like it to where you can tighten it down. There's nowhere for it to wiggle, because the tools tend to settle when you ratchet them down using Mac straps or something. So maybe I can talk them into putting some external pathways to run something through, so you can ratchet it to your roll cage or whatever. But this thing's going to live right here in my decked drawer, right next to my Mac straps. I got my power tank system up in front with my the Max axe, and quite a few other bits of tools, cordless impact. All that stays right in here. So it's a perfect complement for the decked system, and I really like it. So like I said, click on the link and it'll bring you to step 22, and they got a bunch of other gear. I'm sure I'll end up with a bunch of it before too long. Thanks for watching.